Hello my relacing friends and welcome back to another episode of Relace 101. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to relace the trapeze web here. This one's slightly different than standard. It's actually got the spiral that goes around the outside of the web and then the weave that just like holds it together. So there's actually three different sections to this. We have the knot up top here, which is actually for the spiral. So it'll start here, goes down this way, wraps up through the top of the bridge here, and then comes back down, loops back up, and then finishes again with that knot right there. For the trapeze part, that weaves right here, it starts here on the sides. So for this left side here, it'll start right here, goes through the finger, through the web here, and then starts the weave, and then finishes with this knot down here, as on this side. Starts up here, goes through the thumb, weaves back and forth, and then finishes down there on the side. So tools we're gonna need for this is just basic clippers, round nose pliers, and our needle. And then also we need to have 2 strands of lengths, pretty long on this one. That being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'll first start out by taking out the weave part. All right, so now that the weave part's out of there, you can see a little bit better how the spiral goes. So again, it starts at this knot and stops at this knot up here. So you start one side, spiral down, up through the top of the bridge, spiral down, back up, and then finishes there. And as you can see, the top of the spiral or top of the bridge here is actually part of the fingers. So this is a web that you have to do before you lace up the fingers. I'm just going to go ahead and reuse this lace later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and back it out from the top so that way I can show you how to do the web. If not, it would be really tough to try to pass the needle through the top inside that spiral because of how much friction that there is in there. And there we are. The web is now off. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how to reattach this. Alright, so starting off with a full strand here. This one's already been stretched and waxed, so make sure you're doing that to all your laces. We stretch them because I'd rather have it stretch as much as I can before I put it in the glove. If not, you put it in the glove and then it stretches and then you have to retighten it over time. So you try to get as much of that stretching done ahead of time before you put it into the glove. And then also waxing it just helps less friction, help you lace it up a little bit easier. Also adds a little bit more waterproofing to the leather as well to help them last a little bit longer. The friction is the main thing that you're trying to solve there. So on this one, pretty easy. I'm just going to come in here. This one's actually got a couple extra holes. Sometimes you have to just go in the back or in the front here and just come directly out the back. But this one actually has an extra hole right there. So you just go in next to that one. And again, this part right now is just starting our spiral here. So again, leave about 4 inches for a tail so you can tie it off when you're ready. That's probably a little bit more than 4, but we can trim off the excess later on. And just go ahead and start our spiral. And then on the spiral, you want to try to pull as much slack out as you can. You'll still be able to fit the needle in there when you're going to do your weave section. But you don't want this part super loose. Obviously not crazy tight either, but just pull out all the slack just like that. Now that we're to our bottom one, we're gonna have to go ahead and attach it onto the glove and then just make sure that you're lining this up properly. So that's where the top of it's gonna sit at. So I know my bottom 2 holes are gonna be those 2 right there. And on this one, actually goes all the way to the front on this. Like that. And then we're going to spiral all the way up this index finger here and then go through the top of the bridge. Same thing on these sides. You don't want to leave it like too loose like that. And obviously you don't want to crank down so much to where it's like starting to pull it together, but just removing all the extra slack. All right, now that we're to the top, we're just gonna pass through the top of the bridge here and then go down and repeat the same thing on the other side. And then going through the top of the bridge here, you wanna have the smooth side of the leather facing up. Again, leave a little bit of tension here. You don't want it crazy tight. You still want the web to be able to flex a little bit. So I usually pull it snug and then just give it a little bit of a gap, so that way I've got maybe like a 1/4 inch of a gap on each side. Just that way the web can move independently if it needs to. And if you can see it, just a gap like that. And that's how you do the outer spiral. Next up, we'll go ahead and grab the green and show you how to do the weave part. Also, as you're working on gloves, always make sure to dust off the surface you're working on. Otherwise, all those little lace scraps and any dirt falls off on the table, and then you're moving the glove around on it, and then just ends up getting on the back. So just quick reminder, always remember to clean off your workstation. All right, this one, each side usually is about 34 inches long. Again, a full strain is 32. Sometimes you can get away only using 1 strain. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Sometimes you have to get 2 strains because it's just a smidge over, but we'll see what we can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with an overhand knot on this. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the left side of the weave first. So I just need a pretty short knot on this, just something like that, like 1 inch long for the tail. I'm gonna start on the back of the index finger here, go through it. If you can feel the padding on the inside, I try to go over that padding. And go through, come out that hole here. And then with the trapezes, you usually start from the bottom side and then going back up. So I'm gonna hook into that spiral there. I lace up, making sure I got smooth side trying to show up as much as possible. And then we're gonna go ahead and just weave through it, just like that. I'm actually gonna go run back underneath this lace here too. We're gonna move on to the next one again, coming from the bottom to the top. And then with the weave parts, you want to leave actually a little bit of slack in that. If you pull it too tight, it just acts like a backboard when the ball wants to hit and it doesn't have any give to it. So you actually want to leave a little bit of slack so that way the ball can actually sink back into the pocket. And again, when you go back, you want to go underneath of that lace and then turn around and then go from the bottom to the top. So that way, as you go along, kind of starting to see what it looks like there, and then you just repeat that pattern all the way down. All right, so we are now on to the last hole here. So all I'm gonna do is go in this one. And this one's kind of tough to get to, but we're just gonna go through the leather and then just push out that hole right there. And then that'll end the first side of our first weave there. So again, just go ahead and clip this off to 4 inches if you just want standard length knots. I'm gonna go ahead and measure this one real quick. I don't have a measure in here, so I'm gonna run out there real quick, measure it just to make sure it's over 34 inches. If so, I'm gonna go ahead and just use this for the other side. All right, good news, the lace was long enough, so we'll go ahead and use the same one and lace up the other side of the weave and show you how it's done. Same as the other side, except this time we're just gonna start in that thumb hole there. Again, going above the padding to that side, come out that hole there. Again, smooth side should be facing up all the way through here. Once we get to there, I'm gonna go up from the bottom. Then again, we're going underneath. Then over to the next side, back up from the bottom. And then again, repeat that pattern all the way down. And again, back onto our last hole. So we're gonna go on the inside of the glove here, and then there we go, come out that next hole. Get our knots tied off. And there you have it. That's how to relace a trapeze or modified trapeze. Not exactly sure which ones these are called. One of those two. But yeah, hopefully this helped. If you guys need any supplies or anything like that, we sell lace, needles, and clippers on our website. These we don't have on our website, but they're just called Casual Comfort. These are round nose pliers. You can pick these up Hobby Lobby, Amazon, something like that. But yeah, hopefully this helps. If you guys have more relacing questions, be sure to comment them down below. I can make more videos. Hope this helps. Catch you guys in the next one.